Hello everybody and welcome to my review of the Violet Eden chapters by Jessica Shervington. So this series is actually quite old. It is an Australian original series set in America and it was first released in 2010 here in Australia and later released in 2012 in the States. So if you haven't yet picked it up, it is released in America. Go read it, please. The Australian cover looks like this and the American cover looks like that. So they are kind of matching. I like the colour coordination there. You did a good job. So the Violet Eden chapters follow a girl named Violet Eden, aptly named, and she basically, leading up to her 17th birthday, starts experiencing kind of weird things like nightmares and the feeling that something is not exactly quite right. And her 17th birthday isn't exactly a fun time for her because it's also the day her mother died 17 years prior when she was giving birth to her. So just to go on with a quick non-spoilery thing, Violet does find out that she is in fact a supernatural being named a Grigori, or I pronounce it with an accent because I'm Greek, well Australian Greek, but I'm just gonna say with my full Australian accent, Grigori. She finds out that she is a Grigori and it really entails that she is half angel and she has a sense that she can kind of determine if there are exiles in the area, and exiles are just fallen angels or people who have willingly walked out of being, you know, an angel. So Grigoris always have a partner and Violet's partner is Lincoln, who she has had a massive crush on for years, ever since he started teaching her self-defense after she was attacked when she was 14. Now, straight off the bat, their relationship was very kind of slow burn. So don't expect anything fast to happen. This is not Vampire Academy. Well, kind of it is. This book is very reminiscent of Vampire Academy and of the Covenant series by Jennifer L. Armentrout, and it kind of reminded me of that, and I really love that because those books always have a place in my heart because they are just so fun and they're so, I don't know, they just always carry a feeling with them, and I also experienced that feeling while reading the Violet Eden chapters, and now because of that feeling, this is now one of my favourite series. I love it. Lincoln has kept this Grigori thing from Violet even though he knew, and straight off the bat that is probably one of the main conflicts of the first book. I'm only going to be really mentioning the first book in the non-spoilery section for obvious reasons, but straight off I loved their relationship and you can understand everything that they do, and I absolutely loved it. I loved it so much. Lincoln did know of her Grigori status, but he chose to keep it from her because to become a full-fledged Grigori you have to embrace, and literally it means chucking yourself off a cliff. So he didn't really want her to be forced into this life. He wanted her to make the decision for herself, but it's basically when all your powers come through. So she could still kind of choose to be an ordinary person, but it wouldn't really go far because she kind of has a beacon on her. People, the exiles know what she is and who she is, and they still kind of want to kill her. So it did take me a while to grasp the Grigori thing. It is very, very kind of confusing at the start, but I thought it was done magically. I absolutely loved how Jessica Shervington just kind of put everything together. It was so entertaining, and at times it was confusing. I think it is when you've got this much information just coming through, especially in a setup book like book number 1. It is very, 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 very confusing at the start, but it becomes also clear within the first book. It is all there, and I absolutely loved her writing style. It was so fun. It was just absolutely amazing to read, and I sped through these books. They were so quick. They took me, I think, about a day to read each, maybe a day and a half. It depends because I was doing things as I was reading them. I had to spend days in the city and I didn't get to read, and I was going to lectures, so I didn't really get to spend a lot of time here, but it was absolutely amazing when I did read them, and they kept me up so late, and I was going to sleep at 3 a.m. because of this, and I love these books so much. I gave each of these books a 5 out of 5 stars on Goodreads and a 90% on the Georgia scale. They do have some issues that I will address in the spoilery section, so if you haven't read the books, please leave. Okay, starting straight off the bat here, can I just say that I love Lincoln with the essence of my soul. I don't even know how I started loving him so much, but I just did. And I think it probably started when I had to explain the book to my friend when I was reading it. I'm like, yeah, and she has a crush on Lincoln. And because, like, they become BFFs after she was, like, assaulted, and because he's hot shit. And I think after I said that, I was like, oh my god, he is hot shit. Also, Edward Wilding. Yep. Edward Wilding is my fan cast, even though he's British. You can't have it all. Okay, let's begin with characters, and I'm just going to quickly start with Violet. Violet is very, I don't know, she was kind of a character that sometimes you'll really like, sometimes you won't. I absolutely loved Violet and, like, her personality, but sometimes she really pissed me off, like, really pissed me off. Although she does have really good character development, I don't know, sometimes the character development didn't really come through until the last book for me, and up until then, like the 4 books prior, there were moments when I was like, oh my god, I'm gonna slap you. But I think it's like that with every protagonist. There is a moment where you just really want to fucking hit them, but oh well. I understood where she was coming from with the whole Lincoln Phoenix saga of the first book, because, like, of course Lincoln kept that from her, and I understand why he kept it from her. I mean, if I was in that position and I had to keep it from someone, I'd keep it from someone, like, until they were ready to know. But, oh, it was so easy to see that she was being manipulated. Like, from the get-go, everyone's like, oh my god, Phoenix. And I'm just like, no, can you not see this? I can see, I know it. And I can just say, I was not expecting her to sleep with him. Out of everything that happened in that first book, I was not expecting it. Because normally, I don't know, with young adult, I expect, like, the whole, like, I love you, let's have sex thing to come in the final books. Like, that's why they don't really show up in the first book, but this was good. I kind of like that she broke that barrier and put it there. Okay, another thing with Violet that kind of I didn't like is she displayed the hero complex, and that's the whole, like, everything is about me, I need to save everyone, it's all my fault, and I'm just kind of like, whoa, chill, you're not the only one, like, please. So happy she finally lost this hero complex towards the final books. Well, no, it kind of came back at the end of Endless, but it kind of disappeared. When she finally decided to let others in and let others help her, I was like, about fucking time, like, please. Okay, one thing that didn't piss me off, but I already knew about it, but I kind of already had, like, a hatred for love triangles, but there is a love triangle between Phoenix, Violet, and Lincoln, and I don't know, it just kind of, straight away, I had to Google who she ended up with so I didn't ship the wrong thing, and I don't even think I had to Google it, because it's pretty obvious from the start who she's going to end up with, and I was so happy that it was that obvious, because I hate when you go through 5 books of a love triangle and at the end it's just like, wrong OTP, and I'm like, alright. But one thing that I think came from the love triangle was to show how much rejection hurt, and even though Phoenix was a fuckboy beyond all measure, I did feel sympathetic towards him when it came to this love triangle, and especially that, like, I don't know, I shipped Lincoln and Violet the whole way through, and, like, I did rejoice every time, like, Lincoln and Violet were, like, talking to one another. Even if there was, like, a glance, I was like, oh shit, my soul. But, like, I don't know, the thing with, okay, the Phoenix, the love triangle did do some good, because it was the setup for the story. It was the setup for the whole series, and I absolutely freaking loved that it was the setup, because, like, I hate it when it just kind of, when the problem just arises out of nowhere. Like, this had a reason. And I guess that's where Violet's hero complex came from, because it could have been like, maybe if I'd chosen him, this wouldn't have happened. And I'm like, honey, didn't matter who you chose, shit was still gonna go down. Okay, moving on to Phoenix, real quick. This bitch, okay? I could tell from the start that something was gonna happen, that he was gonna screw some shit up, that he was gonna, like, cause some fucking drama. Phoenix is like a teenage girl in the point where he loves causing drama. I think there was a point where he was like, I love Violet, like, my feelings for her are real, but at the same time, he did do things to cause drama just for the sake of causing drama, and, like, I don't know, person inside me that likes having that kind of like drama entertainment was like, yes. But at the same time I was like, please stop. My feelings about Phoenix are mixed because from the get-go, I didn't really like him, but then he became better throughout the series. But from the start, when he was manipulating Violet, when he was feeding her lies about Lincoln and about herself, and he would constantly twist her emotions because that was his power. He would twist her emotions and I'm like, holy fucking shit, stop. And when they did actually sleep together, I was pretty convinced that was rape. Like, I am pretty sure that was rape, and I'm still standing by that. And I guess, now that I think about it, it was consensual, but I didn't see a yes in there anywhere. He was a fuckboy, I will admit. He did take rejection way too harshly, like, this chick doesn't want me, let me just raise my dead mother who is like the goddess of evil and discord. Like, you know, talk about overreacting. But he did have rejection towards the end. He did absolutely like love Violet, and it was sad seeing him not end up with anyone. And I was like, oh, like, I guess. But I did feel sympathetic towards him sometimes because I guess all he wanted to do was to be loved, because he never really got that from being A, an exile, and B, Lilith's son. So, I don't know, I just felt sympathetic. I felt so sympathetic to him towards the end, especially when he sacrificed being an angel to save Violet, and when he sacrificed himself and then became mortal to save Violet. And I was like, whoa. Like, normally I'd be like, yeah, ship it, but I don't know, I'm still bitter about the first book. Okay, Lincoln. Lincoln, Bay. I love him. I love Lincoln. I love Lincoln so much. So much. Okay, so he embodies exactly what I like about main male characters, and I don't know, I felt like he was written just to, I love him. I love him. I can't even stop telling you how much he had flaws, I will admit, but you know, his flaws, I think, made him 10 times better. I don't know. I love him. Okay, so the thing I love most about him is his willingness to let things go. Okay, so the first book literally opens up with, well, Violet, but like, Violet's father told Lincoln what happened to Violet, and that afternoon when Violet and Lincoln are hanging out, he didn't bring it up. And I love, because sometimes even females, even my friends, they'll always try and find out what happened. I think that's just human nature, is curiosity. But he just decided to let it go, and his excuse was, you had the chance to tell me and you didn't want to. I respect that decision. You haven't told me for a reason. And I'm like, holy shit, yes. Edward Wilding. Yep, he's gonna have his whole thing. Okay. So he reminded me a whole lot of Aiden from the Covenant series. And as you know, I absolutely love the Covenant series. But I guess Lincoln was more, in that sense, reckless than Aiden. Lincoln was, they both had that safe, like, aura around them. But now that I compare the two, Lincoln was much more reckless. Lincoln was very, I don't know, I don't really, they kind of, as I look towards the Covenant series, they were very similar characters, and I guess that was, all these books came out around the same time, so I don't know, they just remind me of one another. I'm sorry, I just have to bring up how attractive I thought he was from the get-go. I just, straight away, I just loved his willingness to always be there for Violet, even if it didn't mean anything for him. Like, I know I'm mentioning the first book a lot here, but all the character setup happens in the first book. And when Lincoln brought up to Violet that maybe she was being brainwashed, and she was like, no, he continued being there for her because he was worried about her, because he was a decent fucking human being. And I love that so much. I love that so much, and oh my god, Edward Wilding. Secondary characters. Let's start with Steph, okay? Steph, what a bae. I love her. She did so well accepting this whole like fantasy universe world with all these powers, and I'm like, I have a feeling if I told that to like my best friend, she'd be like, Georgia, what the fuck are you going on about? And she'd like admit me to a psychiatric unit. But Steph just like took it in because like she knew that her friend needed her and she knew that Violet was going through shit, and she's like, nope, she's my best friend, I will be there for her. And I'm like, oh my god, yes. And I really loved her character because she was so fashionable and she was such a girly girl and she loved going shopping, but at the same time she was so intelligent, and I just loved seeing that juxtaposition of characters. It was just the best thing for me because I'm just like, there's not enough girls in books where they can be really girlish and love makeup and fashion and just stereotypical girl things and still be in that high regard of being so smart, because those things don't really go hand in hand in real life, and I love seeing them in books because I have a feeling we'll never get there in real life. Also, her and Salvatore, okay, Australian Georgia says Salvatore, Greek Georgia says Salvatore. Gotta call him Sal then. Her and Salvatore, okay, Salvatore. Her and Salvatore. Love them. They were so cute. I loved them so much. They were so adorable. Kind of deal. Okay, moving on to Spence. Spence. My best friend. If I could choose one character from the book to be my best friend for life, it would be Spence. I love him with my soul. From the inner depths of my soul, I love him. And oh my god, he was such a good character. He was always like there. He was exactly what I want embodied in a secondary character. Even I'm pretty sure he crossed the road into main character from the first book onwards, but he was always there and he was always up for a good time, and he always knew how to like put light on the situation, and he wasn't just the comedic relief, he was also just a character that just wanted to help. He was so human, and that's kind of what made me love him, because he wasn't just put in there for plot points, and especially in the last book. I mean, he was the reason the last book existed, but he was there and he was, I don't know, he felt so real, and I just loved it so much. I loved Spence so much. Also, his relationship with Lincoln is my favorite. Like, they have low-key best friendship, but none of them will acknowledge it. It's just like, you know, like, we tolerate each other, but you can just see they're like best friends. They're like biffles. They're like, oh my god, we have each other's backs. We have Violet's back. Everything is good. Also, the shenanigans that him and Violet sign up for, I want in. Okay, writing. Okay, the first book. Okay, right. The first book, Embrace, you could tell that it was a debut. There was something about it that you could just tell, and you could also tell that Shervington's writing was going to get better later on, and I loved seeing her writing get better as the books went on, and the first book was magnificent, and I just loved seeing it go and get better and turn that story into what it is, what I love it for. And also the Disruption duology, also by Jessica Shervington, you could see just how well like her writing complements the story, and I just loved it. It wasn't as flashy as Tehede Murphy or Laini Taylor, but it was so simplistic to the point where it just got straight to the point, and I loved it so much because I hate really fluffy writing. Really, I don't know why, I just do. Okay, one thing that confused me though was that she used Australian language in the book. I'm not sure if this is the same as the US editions, but she said like she would write mum as in M-U-M. She would use the U's in words like favourite and colour, and I guess it kind of confused me because at first I thought the book was then set in Australia, but then I had to backtrack and I'm like, wait a minute, because it mentioned on several occasions driving under the age of 6, like driving under the age of 18, and 18 is the legal age to drive in Australia, and 21 age, like the age of 21, which is your like alcohol like age, you can start drinking after 21. Well, not like anyone abides by that, but you know. But she also would use words like bloody hell and mate, and I've never actually seen Americans use bloody hell and mate unless they're impersonating Australians or the Brits. So I got really confused there for a sec, but I'm not sure if it's the same in the American editions. I'm pretty sure it isn't. I'm pretty sure they changed quite a lot of the spelling. But if it is, can you see why I'm confused? Why I'm so confused? Okay. Okay, another thing that got me really, really confused was Magda. She had such a large role in the first, like, was it the first 2 books or 3 books? I'm pretty sure it was the first 3 books. 3? 3. Was it 3? I'm pretty sure it was 3. The first 3 books, okay? She had such a large role and there was so much build up to what she was doing, like, especially with Salvatore and Spence and Violet, and they're all like, something is up with you, and Lincoln like, okay, nothing's probably up with Magda, but you know, like, I respect your decision that something's up with Magda, like, I respect what you're trying to say. And then when they found out that Magda was actually the one, like, selling them out, and I was like, there we go, okay, big massive thing with Magda. Then she disappears, right? She leaves. She's gone. Where did she go? Nobody knows. She never came back. I guess the one thing I really wanted to see was Magda coming back. Like, for the love of God. She would have made such a good comeback in the last book. Like, imagine just everything going to shit and then Magda coming back and everyone's like, oh fuck, it couldn't get any worse. No. No. She never came back. And I guess that really pissed me off because there are quite a lot of loose ends in this series. And I mean, I put up with them because I really fucking love the series. But the loose ends, I don't know, they really... I really would have liked to have seen the Magda one at least tied in a nice, neat bow. Double knotted. But nah, it can't be. It can't be, yeah. And I guess I was always just expecting her to come back. So it kind of pissed me off when I got to the end of the last book and I'm like, where's she at though? I'm pretty sure I've covered everything. I had like a script, so yeah. Okay. It's also Edward Wilder. I love him so much. He's my fan cast for Lincoln. He really is. It's how I envisioned him. And apparently he was blonde and I was like, okay. If you've watched this video to the end and you haven't read it, like, I'm pretty surprised. But have at it. These books are absolutely amazing. They are my favorites. I put them on my favorite shelf on Goodreads, and that's saying something. I only have 50 books on my favorite shelf because I'm such a hard ass when it comes to favorites. But I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you have a great day, and I will hopefully have another video up for you soon.